The stairwell smells like wet concrete and old dust. A single amber bulb hums overhead, steady, tired, honest. No flicker, no drama. 4 people stand near a stained pillar like they are waiting for a verdict. No one says hello. No one smiles. Their bodies already know what their mouths refuse. A folded paper sits on the landing. Clean crease, perfect fold, like it has been here all along. A phone screen glows in a hand that is trying not to shake. Why is it always paper? Silence answers first. Then the door behind them clicks, not slammed, not kicked, just closed. The sound is small, but it changes the whole building. Footsteps start somewhere above, slow, measured, not rushing, not hiding, coming down like it has the right. The 4 of them turn at once. The stairwell is empty, but the air feels occupied, like someone is close enough to count their breathing. Stop doing this. The words hit the concrete and die. A second phone lights up. No notification, just light. Like something is testing the screen. Like something is checking if they are still afraid of being seen. And under the hum of the bulb, a voice in the dark of the building feels almost calm. Not a stranger's voice, a remembered one. He learned a long time ago that hiding is mercy. He is not here to be merciful. 7 years is a long time to live inside an unfinished moment. 7 years is a long time to hear your own name in your sleep, spoken like a joke. He remembers the motel light, that sick amber glow that makes everything look cheap. He remembers the wet asphalt and the sound of rain on metal. He remembers the way they avoided looking at him when it mattered most. And he remembers something worse than pain. He remembers the decision. The moment they looked at each other and chose the story they wanted. The moment they decided his life could be edited. He did not heal. He studied. He learned their routines, their roots, their habits. He learned what they used to calm themselves. One keeps rituals. One keeps screens. One keeps anger. One keeps silence. He kept records, not on paper, not on a phone, in the body. The body is the only witness that never gets bored. Footsteps again, closer now, down, one flight. The 4 of them tighten like a single muscle. Show yourself. The stairwell stays empty. Then the folded paper moves, just a little, like a draft touched it. But there is no draft, only intention, and a thought lands in all of them at the same time. This is not haunting, this is scheduling. A voice comes from the stairwell intercom, not distorted, not theatrical, just close. I am not here to scare you. The sentence is worse than a threat, because it sounds like truth. I am here to finish something. A pause. Do not touch the paper. Nobody moves. They stare at it like it is an animal that might bite. Why? Someone asks. Because you already touched enough. The intercom clicks off. Then a sound comes from above them. Something dragged lightly across concrete. A shoe, a box, a memory. The door they came through rattles once, as if someone leaned on it gently, as if someone tested it, locked. The 4 of them turn in a slow circle. Stairs above, stairs below. Concrete walls. One tired amber light. No exits, only choices. A phone vibrates again. This time it plays audio without being tapped. Rain. A car engine. A laugh that does not know it will become regret. And then a crash. Metal complaining. Glass cracking. Not loud. Enough to be action. Real enough to make their stomachs drop. Turn it off. The audio ends by itself. Silence rushes back in like cold water. And the stairwell light hums on, steady as a judge. He wants them to remember, not as an idea, as a scene, as a sound, as something that still has weight. The door unlocks without anyone touching it, a soft click, then freedom that feels like a trap. Outside, the air is wet. Rain mist hangs low. The parking garage opens into the night like a mouth. A message appears on a screen. No sender name, no emoji, no explanation, just an address. A motel off the highway, room 217. They do not argue about whether to go, because the argument would be fake. They are already going. 4 separate cars, 4 separate lanes, 4 separate attempts to pretend they still have control. The motel looks exactly the way it did in their heads. Dull amber wall lamps, wet asphalt reflecting sickly light, a corridor that makes every footstep sound like confession. They park far apart like strangers. They meet anyway. A key card lies face down in a puddle near the curb. Is that ours? Nobody answers, because they all know the second rule now. Do not touch what he places. A door up the corridor is slightly open. Room 217. The darkness inside is calm, waiting like it has been cleaned for guests. Inside the room, the light is even. Cheap amber lamp, thin curtains, carpet worn into memory. It smells like detergent and old regret. On the bed sits a small plastic bag, evidence bag. No label, no writing, just the shape of it. Someone steps forward and stops. Is this police? Nobody answers because nobody wants that word to exist. On the table, an object sits in plain view. A cheap metal ring, bent slightly out of shape. The sight of it does something violent to their breathing. One of them whispers, "That is his." Another voice tries to laugh. It fails. No, that is not his. That is not real. But the body does not care about denial. The body recognizes. A TV turns on by itself. Static first, then a pause frame. A motel corridor camera view. 4 figures, 7 years ago. Grainy, ordinary, unforgiving. The image is paused on a moment that should have been nothing. A hand taking a key card. A shoulder turning away from someone on the ground. Decision happening in plain sight. The TV clicks off. The room stays quiet. Then the phone buzzes. A new message. Tell it the way it happened. 7 years ago, it was supposed to be a shortcut night. A mistake night. A night that could be filed away as messy and private. They called Caleb to drive. A ride. A favor. A body to put behind the wheel so they could stay clean. They were laughing in the back seat. They were arguing about music. They were talking about tomorrow like tomorrow was guaranteed. Caleb kept his eyes on the road. Rain on the windshield. Amber streetlights. The world smeared into warm blur. Then a deer, or a tire, or a hand on the steering wheel that should not have been there. The car snapped sideways. Impact. Not cinematic. Real. Ugly in the way real things are. They crawled out of twisted metal and wet air, breathing hard, alive. Caleb is alive too. And that is where the story could have ended. Call for help. Tell the truth. Be human. But they looked at each other and saw something colder than fear. They saw consequences. They saw careers, reputations, records. They saw him, a man they could rename into a solution. He was driving. Say he was driving. Just say it. Caleb tried to speak. The words did not come out right. Someone grabbed him. Someone pulled. Someone shoved him toward the seat. A ring bent in his fist as he held it tight, like it could anchor him to reality. And the rain kept washing the street like it wanted to help them. It did not. Rain is not forgiveness. Rain is just water. They left him with the story they wrote, and they drove away inside their own lies. Back in the motel room, nobody sits. Sitting feels like surrender. The ring is still on the table. The lamp hums softly. A voice comes through the TV speakers without the screen turning on. I did not die. A pause. I did not heal. Another pause, longer. I became accurate. A breath. I know what you told the police. I know what you told your friends. I know what you told yourselves. Silence. Then the final sentence, calm as a rule. Leave the room. Follow the lights. Do not call anyone. If you call, the story goes public tonight. One of them whispers, "You cannot do that." The reply is immediate. "I already did." A phone lights up. A draft email, already written. Recipients filled. Subject line simple. Confession. Nobody touches the phone, but everyone reads it anyway, because the words look like a mirror. They step into the corridor. The motel lights feel brighter than they should, like the building is watching, like the whole place is part of his memory now. The laundromat is not supposed to be scary. Bright light, white tiles, machines spinning like harmless time. But tonight the place feels like a mouthful of teeth. A folded paper sits on the counter, not hidden, not dramatic, just waiting. Someone steps toward it, hand half raised. A phone vibrates, a message. Read it. The paper is unfolded, blank. For half a second, relief floods the room. Then the paper is tilted toward the light, indentations, letters pressed into the fibers, as if someone wrote hard enough to leave scars, then removed the ink. No one wants to say the words, because saying them makes them real, but the grooves are there, undeniable. A sentence forms in the mind even if the mouth refuses. I left him there. A machine stops spinning with a soft thud, then another, one by one, like a countdown. The lights stay steady. Of course they do. He does not need flicker tricks. He needs acknowledgement. A voice comes from a small speaker hidden somewhere. "I want the truth," out loud. Silence stretches. Then a whispered sentence finally escapes. "I left him." The lights do nothing. The machines start again. Because he is not punishing them for speaking. He is rewarding accuracy. He remembers. And he is teaching them how it feels to be remembered back. Jonah tries to outrun it the way he always does. Screens, roots, speed. He leaves the laundromat first. He gets into his car. He drives downtown, fast enough to feel alive. A parking garage swallows him. Concrete ramps, painted arrows, amber ceiling fixtures that make everyone look guilty. He parks on a level he thinks is empty. Then he sees it. Wet footprints on the concrete. One, then another, then nothing. Like someone stopped mid-stride. Above him, a security camera dome catches the light. A small black eye. His phone lights up. Not a call, a video, live feed. The camera above him is streaming, and the viewer count says 1. Someone is watching. Jonah turns in a slow circle. "Stop." The garage answers with a distant door slam. Then footsteps, not running, walking. Close enough now that Jonah can hear the texture of the steps. Rubber on concrete. Weight. Patience. Jonah backs up, breathing sharp. He bumps a pillar and flinches like it hit him. A voice comes from his phone speaker. "I watched you look away for 7 years." Jonah's mouth opens. No sound comes out. The footsteps stop, right behind the pillar beside him. Close. Too close. Jonah bolts, and the camera keeps watching, steady as fate. The chase does not look like a movie. It looks like a man running, because his body finally accepts the truth. Jonah runs up the ramp. Rain hits his face. His shoes slip once, then catch. He reaches an opening where the garage meets an overpass walkway. Traffic below, headlights like moving knives, wind that smells like wet metal. He stops because the open air feels like safety. Then he realizes that open air is just exposure. A figure stands at the far end of the walkway. Not close, not rushing, just there. Jonah squints into the amber haze. "Caleb?" The figure does not answer. Jonah takes one step forward. A car horn blares below, long and angry. The figure lifts a hand, not waving, pointing down to something on the wet concrete between them. A ring, bent, cheap, familiar. Jonah's throat tightens. He wants to walk away. He wants to run past. He wants to pretend it is not symbolic. But he remembers the feel of Caleb being shoved into that seat. He remembers choosing not to know. Jonah takes another step. The figure turns and walks away, calm as a schedule. Not fleeing, leading. Because the revenge is not the chase. The revenge is the route. And Jonah is finally following it. Lucas does not run. Lucas listens. He meets Caleb where the city is loud enough to hide a conversation. Under an overpass. Rain and mist. Concrete dripping. Caleb is not a monster silhouette. Caleb is a man, older, sharper around the eyes. Calm in a way that scares people who rely on chaos. Lucas speaks first. I knew you were alive. A pause. I hoped you were not. Caleb looks at him like he is reading a receipt. You are the only one who never lied to yourself, Caleb says. Lucas swallows. That does not make me good. Caleb nods once. It makes you useful. Lucas's jaw tightens. What do you want from us? Caleb does not smile. I want the story to stop changing. Lucas looks down at the wet ground. And after that, Caleb's voice stays level. After that, you live inside what you did. Lucas breathes out slowly. A sentence escapes him like a confession. That is not enough. Caleb finally looks directly at him. No, he says. It never was. And Lucas understands. This is not revenge for a bruise. This is revenge for a rewrite. For 7 years, they edited Caleb into a villain and themselves into survivors. Caleb is here to return the original file. Ethan tries to wash it off with routine. Sunday, church lot, wet morning, puddles reflecting dull amber parking lights. He stands by his car and breathes in air like it can scrub him clean. Near the curb, a candle stub sits upright in a puddle. No flame, just wax, evidence shaped like innocence. Ethan stares at it too long. A voice plays from his phone without him touching it. A recording, his own voice, 7 years ago. Put him in the seat. Ethan's face tightens like he has been punched. No, he whispers. That is not me. The phone plays the next line, softer. Say he was driving. Ethan's hands shake. A person walks past on the sidewalk. Ordinary, polite, unaware. Ethan wants to scream for help. But the world does not stop for guilt. The world only stops for noise. He crouches near the candle stub. His reflection in the puddle looks warped, wrong. He stands too fast, dizzy. Then he notices the third thing, a tire track through the puddle that was not there a second ago, fresh, as if someone just drove through memory. Ethan spins. No car, no figure. Just the lot, just the quiet. Just the feeling that Caleb is close enough to hear Ethan's teeth grind. And for the first time, Ethan is not angry. He is afraid of being accurate. They regroup because they have no choice. Not at the motel, not at the garage. Somewhere ordinary, a grocery store parking lot, working lights, people pushing carts, normal life performing its lie. They stand close enough to look like friends. They speak low. He wants to kill us. Another voice answers, no, he wants us to talk. Someone finally says the truth that has been circling them for years. He wants the story. And that is when they understand what revenge really is in a world like this. It is not a knife. It is not blood. It is not a monster. It is exposure. Caleb has recordings, camera feeds, emails drafted and ready, names, dates, places. He has the version of the night they buried, the version that leaves no space for excuses. A phone buzzes again. A map pin appears. A warehouse address. One final location. One final room. One final chance to choose how the story ends. A message follows the pin. Come together, or I send it. They stand under the lights and feel how small they are inside the city. They tried to forget by living faster than conscience. Caleb remembers by moving slower than panic. And they realize the cruelest part. He is not forcing them to go. He is giving them exactly what they gave him, a choice with a gun to the truth. The warehouse is lit like a worksite, bright, even, unforgiving, no dramatic shadows to hide in. A long table sits in the middle of the space. On it are objects placed with care, a bent ring, a motel key card, a receipt with no readable print, a folded paper, a phone with its screen face down, 4 chairs, one extra chair at the far end. They walk in slowly, footsteps loud on concrete. A door closes behind them, not slammed, closed. Then the far end chair scrapes softly as someone sits. Caleb is not in a hood. Caleb does not pretend to be myth. He looks at them like they are a case file. Sit, he says. No one moves. Caleb waits. He has all the time. Finally, one chair creaks, then another, then another. 4 people sitting like defendants. Caleb stands and walks to the table. He touches the bent ring with 2 fingers. He does not pick it up. This is where you started lying, he says. He taps the key card. This is where you practiced. He taps the folded paper. This is where I found you again. He looks up. And this is where you stop editing. Caleb does not yell. He does not need to. He places a small recorder on the table. Red light on. He slides a single sheet forward, blank to the eye. Then he tilts it under the light. Indentations. A confession already written into the fibers. He looks at them. Say it. Silence. One of them tries to bargain. We can fix this. Caleb's face barely changes. You could have fixed it on the road. Another voice shakes. What do you want? Caleb answers without hesitation. The truth in your own mouth. A pause. And the world to hear it from you, not from me. He gestures to the phones on the table. 4 phones. All recording. All ready to send. A timer appears on one screen. 3 minutes. If it hits 0, the drafted emails go out. Employers, family, police tip line, local news inbox. The timer starts. Caleb sits back. He does not touch them. He does not swing a fist. He just watches the clock. That is the revenge. He makes them feel what he felt. Helpless, observed, edited by someone else's decision. Finally, a sentence breaks out, cracked and ugly. I did it. Another voice follows. We left you. Another voice, quieter. We made you the villain. The timer stops at 8 seconds. Caleb exhales once, and for the first time, his eyes show something human, not mercy, relief, like a knot finally loosened. He stands. Not enough, he says. But it is true. Sirens do not arrive immediately. Of course they do not. Real life takes time. But the consequences are already here. The confession is recorded. The story is locked. The file cannot be rewritten again. Caleb walks to the door. He stops with his hand on the handle. Behind him, 4 people breathe like they are learning how to be guilty in public. Someone speaks, small. Are you going to kill us? Caleb does not turn around right away. When he does, his face is calm. No, he says. I am going to let you live with it. He opens the door. Cold air rushes in. Rain smell. Concrete smell. Normal city smell. He steps out. Then he pauses again and leaves one final thing on the threshold. The bent ring. Not as a threat, as a receipt. Proof that the past was real. Proof that someone kept the original story. The door closes behind him, not slammed. Closed. And the warehouse light hums on. Steady, tired, honest. The same kind of light that watched him get rewritten. The same kind of light that is watching them now. They tried to forget. Caleb remembers. And time finally does what time does best. It brings the bill.